I, 22 female, found out I've been his, 30 male, mistress for a year. This might get a little long. I am airing everything out. I've been casually dating this man for a year. I'll call him B for bitch lol. Neither of us were looking for anything long-term or serious, but both really liked sex, so that's what we did. We'd also go on dates every now and then, to play pool, an arcade bar, or movies. I'd see him almost every weekend, sometimes during the week too, sometimes only once or twice a month depending on our schedules. I'd say it was the best sex of my life, especially as time went on. I'm not used to men caring about my pleasure, so I learned a lot about myself and also healed some parts of myself with him. B was so giving and calm and patient, it was really nice and sweet. Everything changed last month when I received a random mysterious call. Some woman asking me how I know B, how long I've been seeing him, etc. Right before she called, B texted me asking me to lie for him, and that it was just his ex going on a rampage. So I lied. I saw him a few days later and he lied, his situation. That him and his ex have been split up for about 4 years now. They used to be engaged, and they have 2 children together. He said that she had just moved back from France and they were trying to figure out co-parenting, and even though she knows they're not together and that he's single, she wants to work it out, so is trying to act crazy to everyone he's seeing. I ask B if he's gonna get back with her, and if we should stop seeing each other while they figure this out. He told me that no, they were never getting back together, and that he'd have a talk with her about it. I told him that if she ever called me again I'd tell her everything since I felt terrible about lying to another woman. He said he wouldn't expect me to lie again. I was suspicious of B this entire month since I don't understand why I'd need to lie to an ex, but thought I had no reason to doubt him. I told him about my last relationship, where I had to end things because he lied to me. With my ex, he had been lying to me the entire time about his relationship with the mother of his kids, saying they were split up and done. And then the last day I saw him he told me he was actually going to try and work things out with her so he couldn't continue to see me anymore. I told B this and told him how I was worried he was using me to cheat on his wife. And he laughed at me and asked why I would assume the worst. He wouldn't do that to me. Over the month he'd start reassuring me a lot more, telling me I am the trifecta and ideal woman for any man, because I'm pretty, freaky, and non-problematic. Wow lol. B would tell me he's just a normal guy and I have nothing to be worried about. I'd tell him that I can't have sex with someone who I don't trust and feel comfortable with, since it makes me feel super vulnerable. He would respond in ways that felt very reassuring and would warn me about bringing past relationship issues into new ones. I told him how I've never been in a relationship before and find it hard to trust people, so apologized for all my questions, and he was really surprised about that. I also told him about how my ex's lies made me super insecure for a while and had me questioning everything about myself, and he told me I shouldn't take those things personally because I had nothing to be insecure about. I suggested that we could stop being sexual for a while just to reset things, and he agreed and said we'll keep it platonic for a couple of weeks between us to see what happens down the line. It was really nice and reassuring. This Monday I got a phone call at 7 a.m. from a woman, the ex. She asked again how I knew B and what was our relationship. I told her honestly and asked who she was. She told me she was his wife and they have been together for 10 years. They're the same age and have never been split up, separated, or even apart from each other for long. We talked for about 15 minutes. I had work though, so I had to leave. We spoke again for almost 2 hours at lunch, her asking me questions and me asking her. I learned he lied to me about pretty much everything. I learned he was also lying to her about a lot, but she didn't want to believe me on that. She also made sure to tell me that there was nothing special about me since he's been cheating for the past 4 years, so I shouldn't feel special. A day or two later she wanted him to call me while she was in the room. She also told me that she is going to try and work through this with him, so she doesn't want me to talk shit to her about him. I told my mom about this plan and my mom said the wife just wants to degrade and humiliate me, and to not do the call. She also said that if B genuinely felt anything for me, he'd reach out to me and apologize. So the talk didn't happen. IDK what to do right now. I feel so betrayed and hurt. I'm wondering if I had deeper feelings for B than I originally thought. I honestly feel crazy. I don't get why he'd lie for so long. If he wanted to cheat, I know there's lots of women who are down to sleep with married men. He knows I'm not one of them, so why get me involved? B told his wife that he lied to me about their relationship just so he could have sex with me, that he didn't love me, we were just talking as friends, and that when he texted me at 1 a.m. on Monday asking to see me it was as a joke. Why go on for a year then? The wife is apparently pretty religious, which is so surprising to me since B is not at all. I've asked and made jokes with him. I really want him to suffer. I opened up to him and was so vulnerable and trusted him, and he made me feel like he was a good man. I want to call his mom and tell her that her son is a bad man. I want his friends to know he's a cheater. I don't know what to do. Only my mom and therapist know about this week's events. I've been too embarrassed to tell my friends. My heart hurts, sad face. I'm not a bad person, so I DK why he'd put me into this role. Block all these numbers and wash your hands of all of it. They are both toxic and you want nothing to do with them. This happened to me when I was also 22 with a 32-year-old guy. He said he was separated from an ex-wife and the whole time they were still married. When I found out, he lied again and told me they were already in the process of separating and he wanted to be with me. My biggest regret will always be thinking he was actually going to leave her and be with me. Even if you have deep feelings for him, you need to leave him and start moving on. It won't end well and will become a huge regret if you stay with him. You should tell your friends and his friends. And his mother. And maybe his work. Hell, if you could find their church, I'd probably tell them too. That's if you are angry about this. Why did he choose you? You are young and you are different than his wife. Perhaps being a little naive helped, no offense. Listen to your mother. Do not get involved any further than notifying people you deem appropriate. Block him and his wife on everything. I think he means most people cheat and some people decide to accept it. Like his wife is doing. Wow, she made sure to tell you that you aren't special when indeed, you probably are. I'm sorry you are going through all this. I hope you can recover. I'm 36F. Afraid my marriage of 7 years, 46M, is over. My husband 46M and I 36F had a happy marriage, we were great, but everything has started to deteriorate 8 months ago. He had a daughter, Marina, with his ex-wife. Marina and I didn't have a good relationship. She didn't like me, so we never really interacted. She was my husband's princess though daddy's girl. He never missed anything, he was always there for her and she saw my husband as her hero. Sadly, Marina passed away 8 months ago at the age of 22. She got suffocated at the mall when she was getting her hair done and her body couldn't resist some products applied on her hair. She suffocated there. She didn't even make it to the hospital and died on her way. Not just Marina died. The man I married also died. I've never seen a man crying like that. For almost a week after her funeral he was an empty body, like if there was no soul. No mind in there. He cries every day, for 8 months. And I'm not joking. He has worn black every single day. He goes to work, comes home, goes to bed, and that's it. That's his life now. He keeps playing the same sad songs every day. It's kind of exhausting. In 8 months, we haven't had sex because he finds it disrespectful and doesn't think it's appropriate. We are married. What can be more appropriate? I've talked to him several times. I've told him to see a professional such as Marina's mom is doing. She even told him to do therapy together, but he refused and accused her of not loving their daughter enough because he thinks that by going to therapy it's like trying to forget about her. I don't really know what to do. I don't really want to leave him at his lowest, but this isn't a marriage anymore. It's me taking care of our son on my own. He used to be a loving and caring father, but now he has become distant and our 5-year-old boy wonders why his dad no longer loves him. This man needs help, but he refuses. I don't know what to do. I love him. His son loves him, but this isn't healthy for any of us. I found out he commented on a YouTube video, Grief on Another Level. He commented, "If it wasn't for my son, I would have ended my life a long time ago." Which makes me even more worried about him. I'm afraid that if I leave him, he'd end himself. I love him, but I find it harder and harder to stay here. I don't know what to do. It feels like I widowed. I lost my dad over a year ago, and he was sick for years. We knew it was coming, and I'm still no way near getting over it. Losing a child suddenly is probably way more difficult and time-consuming. 8 months is not a long time to grieve for a daughter, a son, or a spouse. You have to take your time and be next to him. Sorry him and be there for him. Sorry if this is weird to ask, but how did she suffocate getting her hair done? I don't understand. I don't think you want to leave him, but you and your son need a break from this misery, and your husband needs an intervention. There are things you can't and shouldn't expect. He can wear black forever. Sex will have to wait for a longer time. But he needs to remember your son. He needs to take him out to do things. Meanwhile, can you visit people who love son? You have to give him some more time. 8 months is not too long. Boyfriend, 18M. Told me to eat pineapple after going down on me, 18F, for the first time. To preface this, I have been dating my boyfriend for almost 8 months now, and I truly do love him. He is extremely sweet, and although we have had rough patches in the past, we are always able to move past them. I don't want to give up on our relationship. We have been intimate for, I'd say like 5 months. We were both virgins going into this relationship, so both of us were extremely inexperienced, although he was always more pushy to have sex. This probably explains why he's never made me orgasm. I guess he just doesn't know how to. And doesn't really engage in foreplay. He has fingered me before, but he enjoys sex way more and doesn't finger me if we're having sex. We've never gone down on each other. For the last few weeks, I could tell that he was considering it, but he never actually did it. I was, admittedly, self-conscious and scared. When he tried today, he did 2 licks, came up, and said, "I'm never doing that again unless you ask me to." He then proceeded to get up and ask for water, use napkins to dab his tongue, inspected his tongue in the mirror, and, finally, when he got back in bed with me, he asked me what I had ate for dinner yesterday night. I told him what I had ate, and then he told me that I should have had pineapple instead. IDK. I kind of just shut down after that, and he went on his phone and I cried. He didn't notice. He noticed that I was acting weird and asked me why I wasn't talking, mad at him. But I just felt so embarrassed and dirty that I just didn't tell him. I just felt like an overwhelming wave of sadness take over me because he was that repulsed. I don't think that I'm necessarily unhygienic. OFC, genitals have a smell, but from what I know, they're supposed to. I shower every single day and wash down there with water in the shower. I wear cotton undies, I drink plenty of water, and there wasn't an excessive amount of discharge today. What does a normal, healthy smell? I don't shave. But that's because my skin down there is super sensitive and I'd rather save myself the itching and redness that comes after. What can I do to assuage my sadness? How do I approach this situation with my boyfriend? Too long did not read. Boyfriend went down on me for the first time and told me I smell, and now I feel extremely embarrassed and ashamed. I'm sorry, I know you said you want to stay with him, but he sounds insufferable. And shockingly lacking in empathy and sensitivity. Not to mention consideration for you. Oh, he doesn't like foreplay? Then he shouldn't get sex from you. Period. Letting him get away with that level of selfishness is actually enabling and encouraging that selfishness. And his histrionics over your taste was repulsive. Your boyfriend is a dweeb. Get a new one who actually likes pussy. He's a selfish lover. Does he have to go down on you? No. But that doesn't mean he gets to neglect your sexual needs and insult you. He doesn't understand how the human body works, and that's obvious. Pineapple only works for men. I'm going to be crass. What does your boyfriend imagine his penis or semen tastes like? He sounds like a boring, inconsiderate lover and just overall rude. My 28F fiancé's 29M mother ended my engagement through text. I really hope that this post passes the rules. Last week, my family and fiancé went on vacation together. The day before we left, we told his mother that we were going to do our wedding ceremony just between us two, the officiant, and the photographer. She was furious. The vacation overall was fine. He did act very strange, i.e. going off by himself to call his family often, making passive-aggressive comments to me, mentioning my past relationships and intimate encounters which I have been open about. When we got back from vacation, he mentioned to me that his family said that the last time I was there, that I rolled my eyes when his mother hugged him. I thought his mom was great up until this point, and I would never do that. I was really upset about the accusation, and he told me we could just go and talk to them together and that it was repairable. He then told me to go take a shower and he would lock the door behind him and he would go talk to them about the situation. He said he loved me and then texted me when he got home that he loved me. The next day, his mom texted me and told me that while we were on vacation, they did some digging in my past and found disturbing details. She then told me the wedding was off, that he never wanted to talk to me again and to keep the ring. When asked about details, she only said there was a long list of people and then it changed to a few people, had quite a lot to say about me. I'm absolutely heartbroken and confused. They never gave me a chance to defend myself. I've reached out to the only people who could have said something about me, all who I've talked about in detail with my ex-fiancé, and all of them said they hadn't talked to them and didn't know why they would reach out to them. I haven't been able to eat, sleep or even breathe. I forgot to mention, his mother has never liked anyone him or his brother has ever dated, and found a way to get rid of his brother's last girlfriend. Where do I go from here? Edit. Directly after his mother texted me, I texted him asking for an explanation and closure. He told me he could never trust me and to throw all his clothes away and to keep the ring. He wouldn't let me call or speak to him in person. He then told me to stop texting him, so I did. Okay, if mommy has to break off his engagement because he doesn't have the decency and courage to talk this out in person like an adult, then be glad he's gone. You can't fix things if you don't know the problem, and you can't give explanations for things if they aren't asking you about them if there was anything that needed to be questioned. It sounds to me that she just found an excuse to dislike you and may have even made up things to him. But if he's such a mama's boy that he lets her run his life, then see this for the red flag. It is location flag, location flag, location flag, and be glad you saw it now and not after you were married. Best of luck, op. You accept that you dodged a bullet. His mother is obviously lying, but she's not your issue. Your issue is that your ex picked her over you, that he let her pressure him instead of shutting her down, and that, in the end, he preferred to appease her instead of growing a spine, maybe even cutting contact, and going ahead to build a new family with you. He didn't have your back, he didn't stand by your side. That's not what you want in a partner, so as painful as it is. In the long run, it's good that you learned now where you were on the priority list and that you got out. This must hurt tremendously right now, but you just got saved from a very miserable marriage. Yes, I agree. A lucky escape. You don't want or need these awful people in your life. Was this an arranged marriage? If not, I can't for the life of me understand why his mother is this involved. Sounds like you escaped marrying into a nightmare family. He's almost 30 and mommy is dumping his girlfriends for him? Yikes. It was clearly his decision since he was mentioning your past passive-aggressively, and that's the reason his mother gave, but he is too cowardly to say it himself. Where you go is far, far away from this overgrown child.